In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys 3 more epic ring shot ideas that you can try out, like this, or this at your next wedding. And I'm going to start right now. Now, if you haven't already watched part 1 to this video, we've actually already gone over 3 different ring shot ideas that you can try out at home. One creates a beautiful fiery scene, one that creates a beautiful water scene, and one that creates a snowy scene. And in today's video, we're going to expand on that with 3 more ring shot ideas. Now, for this, you're going to need a camera. Today, I'm using a Canon EOS R5 and a lens. I recommend a macro lens. Pretty much any lens will do, but a macro lens lets you really zoom in onto the details. And today we're using the Canon EF 100mm f2.8. Now we're also going to be using some off-camera flashes as well. And actually we're using 3 in this video. We're going to be using the ProPhoto B10X, the ProPhoto A1X, and the brand new ProPhoto A2. And the first shot is going to be called the honeycomb shot. So to create this shot, you're only going to need a few things. The first thing you're going to need is your main light source. And in today's video, we're going to be using the ProPhoto B10X. Now I'm going to use it on half power 5.0. And what you want to do is get your main light and basically place it on the table, placing basically directly upwards. Now, because this is called a honeycomb grid shot, we're going to need some honeycomb, and that's what this is. Basically, it's a 10%, or in this case, 20% grid, and basically it's designed to basically direct the light upwards. And what we're going to do is we're going to place the rings directly on top of this grid. Now, to do that, you're also going to need a grid and gel holder, so for this ProPhoto B10X, so basically that just goes on top. And all of them are magnetic. Now, you can just place it on top and just use the natural light coming out of the light. But I like adding some colour, adding some gel to it. Now, ProPhoto have quite a few examples of that, but my favourite one for this shot is the CTO, or Colour Temperature Orange. This is the full CTO, so it's the full orange. And basically all that does is it goes on top, magnetic, put the gel on first, then you want to put the honeycomb grid on top. Now what you want to do is get both of your rings and basically place it on top of the honeycomb grid. So we want to go for a shot that looks very similar to this. Now, the camera I'm using is an R5 with a 100mm f2.8, and I'm using the Pro Connect. And what's really nice is because obviously the light is underneath, the Connect Pro, what it allows me to do is change the power without going to the light and changing it, which is really nice. So what we're going to do is turn my camera on. I'm going to turn the light on, make sure it's firing, perfect. And what you want to do is go for a shot, as you can see, very similar to this. Now the settings I'm using for this shot, because I am on a tripod, you can do this handheld, but because I'm filming, it's just easier on a tripod. I'm doing 1/100 of a second at f8 to start off with, and then to balance my exposure, I'm using 500 ISO. So I'm gonna go ahead and just take a sample photo. Brilliant, so we're starting off with a photo like this, and what it's basically doing is the light is coming from underneath and lighting the rings, which is really nice. But what can sometimes happen, especially with gold rings or silver rings, is it can become all-encompassing. The light can just be too strong, that gel can just be too powerful. So we want to balance that with some natural light coming in, so just white light. So what I'm going to do is, I've got my ProPhoto A2 here, I've just put it on a small little tabletop light, or you can get an assistant to hold it. What you want to do is place a grid on front of this. I'm using a 20% grid on top of this. This is the click grid that you get with it. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on, and what I'm going to do is have it on very low power. So I've got this on half power, which is 5.0 in ProPhoto. I'm going to put this on 1 power, so 1.0. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to position it 45 degrees off to the center of the main light here, so with my main camera. So what I'm going to do now is I'll go ahead and take a photo. As you can see, what it's doing is it's adding in some more whiter light to this photo. Because again, like I'm saying, it can be a little bit overpowering. Now what I'd probably actually do in this example is I'd turn it up a little bit more. So I'd go to 2 power instead of 1, take another photo. And as you can see, if you go the before and after, we're just adding in a little bit more of that whiter light. Now, if it's still not pizzazzy enough for you, you can actually add in some mist and add some kind of almost look like rain. What you could do by yourself, a tiny little spray bottle. This is literally just water. What I'm going to do is pop the cap off, and you want to spray it just above and basically allow it to fall onto the light. So go ahead and spray. And what you want to do is take a photo just as it's falling onto the rings there. Lovely. What we'll do is have a look at a few photos. And that is looking absolutely awesome. Now what's really nice is you can try a variety of different colors as well. Purple works really nice with gold because obviously they're complementary colors. But you could also try blue, yellow, or in my example, orange. So go give this shot a go and see what you think. I absolutely love this shot, especially when you integrate some water. Now I really like the honeycomb shot. It looks like it's gonna be really complicated, but actually you're only using 2 lights. If you don't have 2 flashes, you can always use a torch or your mobile phone's torch to kind of light, just to give that extra little bit of kick, especially if you're adding a lot of color, otherwise it can look quite monochromatic. But I must say it's one of my favorite shots, and I actually found it out by accident when I actually took a photo of some honeycombs. Yeah, I really like this shot, especially if you wanna be quite unique at a wedding. But let's try shot number 2, which I call the rain shot. Okay, so the next shot is the water shot or the rain shot. Now for this, you're gonna need a few things. You're gonna need 2 flashes. You're going to need some kind of grid or way of directing one of the flashes. I've got a Profoto Click 20% or 20-degree grid there. You're also going to need some kind of blue gel. I've got Peacock Blue from Profoto. You're going to need some water and some way to spray it. So I've got a little sprayer here. I've got the 2 rings, I've got a small amount of blue tack, and I've got some, what is basically a tissue. Now, what you want is some kind of reflectional surface. So basically, I've got this little acrylic kind of black sheet that I've got on the bottom here, very reflective, almost like a mirror. And then on over there, I've got a backstop, which is basically a foam board, which is black. That's going to be our background. We don't want a white background, we really want to emphasize the rain. So we want some contrast to it, which is why I recommend choosing a black background. Now, before we place the rings on there, what I recommend doing is to create this real cool kind of, not shallow depth of field because we're shooting at quite a high aperture, but this really cool bokeh effect with the foreground and background. You want to spray some water all over your table or glass or mirror, whatever you're using. Now, these aren't going to be very large droplets. So what I recommend doing is get a little cloth here and basically kind of making the droplets a little bit larger just by wiping it. I wouldn't wipe it lengthwise, I'd wipe it kind of sideways, just so the bokeh doesn't end up in lines. So we'll go for an effect like so. So now we want to place our rings. So we're going to place our rings bang smack in the middle. I'm going to get a little bit of blue tack, because what I'm going to do for this one, I'm going to put the rings, and have this ring standing up. So I'm going to have the main kind of ring like so, standing up underneath. So we're going for a shot very similar to this. Okay, so now we're happy with that. We're now to place the flashes. So I've got a Profoto A2. This is going to be my main blue light. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my Peacock Blue light on there. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pop that over in the very far corner of our table, basically facing towards the flash or towards the main rings there. Now, just as a sample test shot, what I'll do is I'll just turn this one off. So at the moment, I've got this on power of 5, so half power. I'm gonna go ahead, get everything lined up, and then I'm gonna go ahead and take a photo. Now, the settings I've got for this is 1/100th of a second at f11, and I'm shooting at 500 ISO. So I'm gonna go ahead and see what the photo looks like. So you can see we're getting this really cool effect with the water, and we've got the blue over in the corner. But you can't really see the rings because there isn't much contrast. Because we're backlighting them with blue, everything just looks really, really blue. So we really want to emphasize the rings in the foreground. To do this, we're going to use another light. So I'm going to use a Profoto A1X. I'm going to go ahead and turn this on, and I've got this on the power of 4.0. And you want to place this basically 90 degrees, either left or right of the rings to your camera. What this will do is it will light the rings up, but it won't light up the rest of the kind of shot. Now, to really dial in, to really light up the actual rings themselves, you want to use a grid. What a grid does, it basically directs the light from wide beam to very, very tight beam. And the tighter the grid, the kind of more narrower the light source will be. So I'm gonna go ahead, and this is all magnetic on that onto the front. Now, I've got that on power of 4, but you may need to balance it depending on what photo or depending on the look of your shot. So again, shutter speed is 1/100th of a second at f11 500. We'll do a test shot. And as you can see, the rings are really starting to light up. But what I would probably do is I'm gonna go to my B light, which is this one. I'm gonna go ahead and turn up the power to half power. That's 5.0. And what that will do is it will really bring out the kind of main ring there. I might bring it up a little bit more forward, just so it's lighting up a little bit more of the rings. Brilliant, and I am happy with that shot. So now we want to integrate the rain. We've got some Water already on the ground, which is creating that nice bokeh, but we really want to emphasize the water. So very similar to the previous one, we're just going to add some water simply by spraying it and taking a photo. Spraying, taking a photo, like so. The more you spray, the more water will be in there. I like spraying it slightly higher, as you can see. And look at some of these photos. I am really happy with them. I'm actually really happy with almost the first one we took. So yeah, experiment. You could always try it with a different coloured gel. Obviously, I like blue because it looks like rain. And obviously trying it with different amounts of water. Try it with a gel, try it without a gel. Really see how well these end up coming up with. What you might need to do is remove the blue tack. Sometimes that can get in the way. But I must say, this is a really cool shot, especially if it's rained at the wedding. You can really complement a lot of the shots for the day. There we go, guys. That is shot number 2, the rain shot. Now, I love the rain shot, especially if it rained on the day at the wedding. Again, I think that will complement the rest of the photos, especially if you've done a rain shot like this one, for example, late at night. We can really light up that rain and create this beautiful look. If you can complement that and basically replicate that in the ring shot, I'm sure the couple will absolutely love it. Create a real consistent gallery with that look. But anyway, that's shot number 2. Let's talk about shot number 3, the last shot, the book shot. Okay, so to create the book shot, first thing you're going to need is a book. Now what I recommend with the book is to get 2 pages roughly in the middle, put blue tack on either side like you can see here, and basically just stick them down by bringing them in slightly. That will create this nice arch that you can see. Then you may have to weigh it down a little bit. I've just got literally just some rulers, pop it inside the book on just one of the pages, and that will just weigh down the edges. What you don't want it to do is while you're taking a photo, it come up, or you could just get someone to literally hold it up like so. But because obviously no one's here, I need to do it myself. Then what you'll need is a flash. Again, I'm using my Photo A1X for this one. The reason is it's got a nice flat base. I can literally put it just on top of the book like so, and you want it on its lowest power or fairly low power. I've literally got it on 2.0, which is the lowest the Photo A1X will go to. Then what you want to do is place the rings. What I recommend doing is placing the rings in the middle of the book. If they don't balance, find the one that balances better. So I found that one balances better than the other one. And then what I'm going to do is just place the other ring just on the top like so. So as you can see, it looks good, but what we're doing is we're actually creating a shadow inside the rings. So we'll place them in like so. Then what you want to do is basically stand up, turn the camera on. Again, we're having it on its lowest power, so we're having the flash coming from the top of the book down to the bottom. And what this will do is it will cast a shadow with the rings, and that shadow will create a love heart. Now for the settings for this, basically the same settings we've had with the previous shots, 100th of a second at f11 and 500 ISO. What you want to do is stand up, basically have your center point or your center point focus at the top of your image. Go ahead, select one of the rings, and then go ahead and take a photo. And as you can see, we've got this nice love heart coming in. But what I recommend doing is coming a little bit higher, taking a few photos and seeing basically how they come up. And I must say, I'm really happy with this shot. I need to do a little bit of editing to remove that kind of mark that we've made with the blue tack on the side, but we're getting this lovely love heart in. Now what you can also do is add a gel to this shot. So for example, a half CTO works quite nice, bring a nice warm tone. You can also integrate another light as well, to kind of as a fill light to kind of overall light the area. But to be honest with you, this shot also works quite well in black and white. So have an experiment. It's a fairly simple shot to do, but I must say, if you can pull it off by balancing the book and everything like that, I must say it comes out really nicely. And that lovely kind of shape that you can make with the rings creates a love heart, which obviously is perfect for a wedding day. Now what I really like about this shot is all to do with the composition. You're using the shape of the shadows to create this beautiful love heart with the rings. Now it does take a little bit of time to get everything balanced, to have the book in the right position, put the rings on top. You can use a little bit of blue tack. I've worked out that works quite nicely. But yeah, don't get too frustrated. It can be quite frustrating to get everything in position, but once you do, you create this beautiful image just like this one. And write down in the comments below which one was your favorite. Was it shot 1? Shot 2 or shot 3? I'd love to hear your feedback, as well as if you're interested in a part 3, would you like 3 more epic ring shot ideas? I'll have to think a little bit more about them, but yeah, I'd love to hear your guys' feedback. I've been James for Photo Fever, and I'll catch you guys next time.